In January of 1993, Michael Okerlund Leavitt was sworn in as Utah's 14th governor. At the time, he was one of the youngest governors in America and was elected to lead just as dramatic transformations in information technology were impacting every sector of the economy and governments throughout the world. Utah's young governor knew the power of information technology to transform economies and improve human lives. He was ready to go to work.
Governor Leavitt was very early to understand the vision of what was happening, and so he delivered that speech where he talked about the fact that the electronic highway would be just as important as the physical highway. One thing that was very important was that he was a user of technology and understood it about as well as probably any governor in the country at that time. So when we first started, email was not even ubiquitous. And so that speech, I think, really established a foundation for the governor's future activities with regard to technology and the internet. It got everyone sort of on the same page. Before long, the cabinet members got excited about it. Education, both higher education and public education, knew that they had a governor who was going to lead out with technology and connectivity. And so I think it had a big impact. It really laid the foundation for a lot of important things that followed.
After the electronic highway speech, progress in information technology at all levels of government and society began to accelerate. Utah had a game plan and a governor who was leading the way. It helped that he was widely known as a technology geek, even one time changing the motherboard in his own computer. It wasn't uncommon for people in the governor's neighborhood to see Governor Leavitt, security in tow, at the local computer store purchasing a new cord, expanded memory, or the latest cool thing on the market. Some journalists even took to calling him Governor Moonbeam. Mike Leavitt's natural inclination towards everything IT created a can-do spirit in him and those around him. His commitment to information technology was contagious. Over time, IT professionals transcended technological and social barriers. Utah's electronic highway was built, mile by mile, bridge by bridge, and lane by lane. Dave Moon was hired by Governor Leavitt to serve as Utah's Chief Information Officer, one of the first in the nation at the state level. Governor Leavitt wanted to get IT out of the back room and into the boardroom.
One of the things that made Governor Leavitt successful when it came to technology was his ability to see out ahead, to see where technology was taking us and what that meant in terms of people's access to government, people's ability to get education, to do commerce, to run their businesses. And an example of that is the Western Governors University. Long before people were talking about taking classes on the internet as a common way of consuming education, Governor Leavitt was talking about this idea of a university that was virtual.
Governor Leavitt's list of accomplishments is impressive by any standard. Citizens now have 24/7 access to government services. Utah is among the most wired states in the country. Utah was the first state to recognize digital signatures. Utah has a thriving and growing IT industry. Utah is a leader in technology-based education. Leavitt recruited Bob Mendenhall to lead something he and several other Western governors started, the Western Governors University, the first fully accredited, competency-based university.
Really, Mike Leavitt was instrumental in establishing the university. He brought together all of the Western governors as part of the Western Governors Association. And they proposed in, I think originally 1995, this idea for a new university that would use technology. But Mike's great contribution to it was that he saw the power of technology to not only deliver education, that is to expand access to people in rural areas, but actually to change the model of higher education. To solve the one great problem we have in education, which is that everyone learns at a different rate. But when a professor is teaching 30 students or 300 students, there's one rate, the professor's pace. But by using technology, we can individualize to every individual student. And that's really the hallmark of what WGU does.
Mike Leavitt also recognized the need for more science, technology, engineering, and math students to propel the university's economy into the information age. He created the Utah Electronic High School, the High-Tech High School, otherwise known as the Academy for Math, Engineering, and the Sciences. and fought for funding to double the number of engineers and scientists graduating from Utah institutions of higher learning.
I think Governor Leavitt was kind of a master of the disruptive technology. Whether he had read Clayton Christensen or not, I think he was very pro-education, but he was not satisfied with the way things were being done. One, he wanted an online university, and he didn't see one evolving, so he created WGU. And there were a lot of skeptics and a lot of people that said, well, it probably won't work, but I think he put a lot of vision and energy into it, and of course WGU was an enormous success.
Rich McKeon served as Governor Leavitt's chief of staff through the Olympics and as the governor received the call to work in the Bush administration. He was at the governor's side as Leavitt fostered the Utah Silicon Valley Alliance, supported the Fund of Funds, attracted technology companies like Intel and Micron to locate and expand in Utah.
The companies that responded affirmatively to Governor Leavitt began to come here. They created jobs, but even maybe more important than that, they created the inertia, the impetus for a knowledge that Utah was a high-tech center. The Utah Fund of Funds was another important component building block to creating Utah as a high-tech center.
Governor Mike Leavitt, an entrepreneur, a visionary, and a statesman. At Governor Leavitt's farewell address, he summarized the ideals of his public service in 3 short phrases. He said, "Did I leave the state better than I found it? Did I plant seeds for future generations? And did I give it everything I have?" The answers are an emphatic yes. From a grateful state and information technology community, Michael Okerlund Leavitt, we thank you and your wonderful family for your extraordinary public service. It is with deep gratitude that we induct you into the Utah Technology Council Hall of Fame.